host, MrMistaKing, and with me is my boy Techboy. What's up, my brother?
My brother, what's going on?
Ain't not too much, man. Happy New Year and happy holidays to you.
Happy New Year, bro. Happy holidays. How was your holidays?
It was a trip, man. It was definitely something to like kind of, acknowledge. Like I only spent time with my brother and sister, and we were social distancing and doing everything that we can. So all that has been it's been an ordeal as it were, but I was happy to be with family.
Uh-huh.
Um, I will say, I did get a lot of time to watch shows, watch movies, play games, start cracking into things I should start cracking into, including starting to watch some anime. And I'm excited about everything that we're getting ready to kind of start doing this year.
Nice.
And yeah, kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. We got some plans, man.
Oh, yes, we do, and I am really excited for them. There's honestly nothing but bright side for us and our listeners. So let's get to it.
So one of the things that we talked about, we just brought it up, was we were thinking about doing an anime podcast. It's
Yes.
something that we're probably moving forward with, but you know, we want to be able to bring as much content to you guys as possible, and that content is just going to be us guys coming together and having an opinion on the things that matter to us and matter the most to us, including everything that affects this geek and nerd culture.
Uh-huh.
And we want to have an outlet for anime. We want to have an outlet for technology. We want to have an outlet for fashion. In fact, we do have an outlet for fashion. I hope you guys remember my co-host from last time, my boy Retro Jarrett. He runs the Year Kicks page. You should definitely check him out,
Yes.
as well as just being mindful of like trying to encapsulate everything that it is that we do, including stuff that's happening on the website, all the articles and all of our streams. That's where you can find Life with Tech Boy. That's where you can find Mr. King 712, and
Yeah.
that's where you can find the Nerd List podcast and the Nerd List streams, as well as in the lenses, which is this our show. And yeah, we're going to be doing as much stuff as we can and trying to get the news to you as we hear it and get the rumors to you as we hear it and get our opinions out there as they matter more. No, I'm joking. But
You know
but it
it.
is what it is.
Gotta have
So
fun. I agree.
I mean there's so much stuff that happened. Like we talked a lot
True.
about everything that came up from the Disney Expo,
Mm-hmm.
just everything that Kevin Feige was talking, and all the plans for Star Wars and the MCU. We also got a glimpse at the stuff that Anthony Hamada was working on with DC, and just kind of hearing his idea for the two DC movies a year and how
Mm-hmm.
the DC universe is the DC extended universe or entertainment universe, whatever it's called, the DCEU, they are splitting into two separate universes that will allow one for the main DC universe continuity, is what we see with the Snyderverse and everything that's happening with the Justice League and everything that's happening with Superman and Wonder Woman. But we also get to see a specific DC universe that's for like one-off movies and whatnot, where the Joker and the Batman exist, as well as all the like other shows and movies that are actually being developed that are supposed to be kind of like separate universe from the grand DC universe.
Mm-hmm.
And no shot at Hamada or nothing, because like I also hear about the gripes and the struggles that he's going with right now with the Ray Fisher, the former actor who played Cyborg in
Mm-hmm.
the Justice League and was supposed to pick up in the Flashpoint movie. Hamada had said that nobody's done this before,
Right.
and I'm kind of just looking like, haven't they though?
Kinda.
Haven't they? Like, I'm
Kinda.
really looking hard at Marvel. I'm looking hard at Kevin Feige. I'm looking hard at Dave Filoni. I'm looking hard at guys like John Favreau, and I'm just kind of like, they haven't really. Nobody's done this before. Uh, I don't
I mean,
know.
I
And
guess
again,
maybe with DC they've never done it before, and maybe that's what he's referring to in the live action sense. Because
no,
even outside of DC, they've done it. I mean, even outside of Marvel, many other you know people have brought together universes. It's not like a I'm
I,
not
I
sure what he was talking about.
I think he wanted. I really think he was trying to just step up and stuff like that. But that goes on to
Understood.
say that, and this is me just dropping an opinion. This
Hmm.
is There's something to be said about who's behind the live action stuff at DC. Um,
Fair.
they're just not. There's just some sort of disconnect between them and the fans, and it's something that needs to be like discussed. I don't know if it's Warner Brothers. I don't know if it's DC themselves, but there is like such um uh, um, like a disconnect, like there's two different fissures going off in opposite directions about what should be happening in the live action universe and how the characters should be portrayed. Uh, I I kind of I don't like the direction that they're in, and I don't want to take away from it because there's a couple of movies in there that I do like. I did like Wonder Woman 1. I did like I
That
did
was
like
good.
Aquaman a little bit, and I did like Superman, like the Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was pretty cool. I like the dilemma that they presented Superman with having to, compromise who he is, who he thought he could be as a hero, in order to save like everyone and protect people, the greater good, yada yada. I thought that was a good movie, but for some reason, man, Batman vs Superman, the Justice League movie, all of that crap just, and I was over it. Could not mess with it, and I'm just kind of like, damn, what's going on with the writing? What's going on over here? And Jay, you are a person that's honestly spoken up for, and we can't deny that the DC animated universe is something to talk about, and that Marvel even can learn a thing or
Mm.
two from what they're doing over there. And I love how they got that stuff together. I love how they put it, like the effort in. Like not all of them are like 100%, but at their worst, they're like 8% or 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 at least. You know what I'm saying? But they're not. There's never a crappy DC movie. I personally liked uh the joke. What's it called? The Killing Joke. I thought that was a great freaking movie. People
Hmm.
thought that it was a little bit over the top and it didn't really follow the comic 100%. I don't know. People had issues with it. I loved the shit out of it, and I thought it was dope. That's me.
I'm
Um,
I'm right there with you. I'm
I'm
right
just
there with
saying,
you.
man. It's just we're at a point now where it's kind of like they have it together in one area, and the fans are clamoring for like, hey, you should make it more like this, and they keep going in this direction where they're kind of like trying to redo superhero genres or trying to redefine themselves in an effort to kind of like differentiate themselves from Marvel. And I'm feeling like you can't hate on Marvel for setting the standard for what it should look like and what it should be. And rather, you should find a way to do what Marvel does in a better way instead of trying to like run away from it. Because whatever you're thinking, the fans want. They're not
I
getting
don't know.
it.
I think I'm sorry to. I think I feel differently. I think they're trying to make it more like Marvel than to run away from it.
Mhm.
From like what I've seen with the people who are arguing for changes, it to me from and I can't recall like specifics, and I feel bad for not being able to. I feel like that's like my common theme. I can't recall specifics, but it's from what I've researched and I've spoke about it in the past with like my brother and brother's friends and my friends, and it seems like the issues that people have a problem with are the things that separate these set of movies from the Marvel movies. What separates this universe from the Marvel universe? And I think that with people comparing the DC movies to Marvel movies, you're not giving DC a chance. Because if DC would have came up first and set the stage, we might be all be having different conversations. Maybe. I still think the Marvel movies are really, really well produced. They're really well produced. But I don't know. And I also think that the DC movies are a lot darker than the Marvel movies. So it's like the Marvel movies are a lot more lighthearted, where it's more, I would say, younger people who've seen like every Marvel movie, where people who are maybe a little bit older than we are, didn't see every Marvel movie, but they saw the DC movies. Now I'm serious. Look it up. It's younger people who actually saw every Marvel movie, but none of my kids have seen any of the DC movies. You know, like none of my kids' friends have seen any of the DC movies. And they're not bad movies, they're just higher ratings. And who's going out to see them? You know, younger people for the most part. I mean, who would be going out to see regular movies is younger people, and who would be going to see, you know, like a DC movie is older people who are, I guess, waiting for it to come out to complain about it. Um, and that's just how I saw it.
I don't I don't necessarily want to subscribe to the idea that folks like that to get a good movie across, it has to kind of be a little bit more darker, because for whatever reason these DC movies may be dark, they still seem to be lacking, like, a sense of logic. And it's funny, not logic, I don't want to say logic, but cohesiveness and connectivity that seems to be lacking in their movies. Case in point, like, just the motivation behind the conflict between Superman and Batman was just kind of ridiculous. And it felt like, even though they wanted to be dark, or that it was supposed to be a mature take on such a conversation, for all intent and purposes, for their mom to be both named Martha is like the end all be all. That's silly to me. And it's funny you should mention that they are trying to follow the Marvel method. If if that is true, this is arguments were made back, actually. If you want to look back a few years back, with you look at when Aquaman dropped, people were saying it was like a beat by beat retelling of the Black Panther. So you're not too far off from that concept. Uh, Wonder Woman 1984 came out, and I got to watch that Christmas Day because that's when it dropped. And I was with my brother and his sister, and I'm thinking, like, I like Wonder Woman. I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Uh, Maybe it's not gonna suck. Visually, I just want to talk about what I loved about this movie, because I did love some things about it. Gal Gadot was bad. Can't deny it. She's gorgeous,
She
and I
is
love
gorgeous.
her. Yes, and I love her in the role. She really does a good job of playing Wonder Woman. She does a good job of illustrating how powerful Wonder Woman is, but how she doesn't want to be looked at as this god-like entity. She wants to be looked at as, like, just somebody who just wants to protect and whatnot. And that everybody, she wants to inspire. She doesn't want to be a negative aspect on society. And I love that. I love that part of it. She did a good job of acting. She did a good job of bringing that character to light, and the screen time, awesome. Every actor in that movie, phenomenal job. They deserve applause. Whatever the dialogue is, what it is, but they acted the hell out of those lines, and they managed to get through a pretty mangled story. God bless them, especially Pedro Pascal as Max Lords. Good job,
Yeah.
bro. You can't do wrong anything you do. He doesn't even remind me remotely of the Mandalorian at all. He's excellent.
Yep.
Uh, but with that being said, man, there were some terrible things about this movie. The special effects seemed like something ripped out of PS2. The Some concepts were not really well fleshed out. I did not really like the writing of Patty Jenkins, who was also the director of Wonder Woman 1984. She she went on to say that one of her biggest accomplishments with the movie was that she did it without killing anyone. Uh, Jamal, the same thing that you're saying right now about them trying to follow a more Marvel route. Even Marvel deals with death in a really very well, pretty realistic way. I mean, they wiped out half of their roster just to sell tickets. So I think that there was some mature things with that. But with this particular situation, this is Wonder Woman. Now, if you've seen Wonder Woman 1, you know how down and dirty she got
Yep.
on the battlefield of World War One or two, rather. So to see such a dramatic departure from that, like, she was dealing with dudes that were, like, literally blowing up villages and putting humans at risk, all types of, like, listen, it's and they shot live missiles at this woman. Okay, ain't nothing to talk about. You can't just beat these dudes up and wrap them up like in a neat bow and call it a day. That'll teach you evildoers. Like it's not. Nah, you tried to kill me. Yeah, I'm gonna rip your throat out. Like it's time to go. That's what made DC
That's the
dope.
DC
Listen,
way. Yeah.
this is the DC way. Batman came in the door waving the 4-4. Like, what's up? Like, how is Wonder Woman chill? How is Wonder Woman who's bred for? She's an Amazon. Is she not with the smoke?
So it's funny. I was actually about to say that as you were talking. I'm like, the thing about the movies are they don't remind me of any Wonder Woman from any comic book. And
Correct.
I did a little research that like none. Like Wonder Woman is this battle hardened woman who's I don't know, like her pride is there, and she kind of reminds me of Aquaman, like the cartoon Aquaman, where they're both kind of dense but really strong. And
Right.
that's just kind of how I see it. I feel like this depiction of Wonder Woman was cool, but I feel like it doesn't have to follow a comic book, right? Of course not. It's a
No.
completely different universe. No, we're good with that. But I feel like when stories just go and they recreate a character and whatever, you have to make sure it's over the top. It has to be really good, right? And I feel like even with the first one, I loved the first one, but I wouldn't say it was the best depiction of Wonder Woman that I've ever seen. And I feel like if you're gonna take a character and you're going to remake the character in your image, well, this image better be dope enough to make me forget about all the other ones. But I'm still thinking about all the other Wonder Women from every other comic. Like even in Young Justice, Wonder Woman was dope. That's probably the closest to this depiction, but she was still whipping ass and ready to take names, and she was no games, right? And that's kind of what I expect from Wonder Woman. Oh, you want the smoke? Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Remember
She's a
Injustice
G.
2? Remember Injustice 2 and like the Injustice series and
Yeah.
comic series?
Yep. She
Son,
was a monster.
she
She was
was a
scary.
monster, son. She was frightening. I don't want to hear nothing about nothing anymore. Like
Right.
and for them to put it in that direction and then to give Patty Jenkins another movie to do with her, I was like, oh Lord, no, 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 no. This is not the direction you need to take Wonder Woman, and I felt really bad. So I'm going to give Patty the benefit of the doubt and hope that she can pull it together and get a little bit more of a cohesive storyline. The storyline made no sense. There was a wish stone involved. Somehow or another, Max Lord's um, became the wish stone. People started making wishes, and it was like a monkey's paw. So when you make a wish, bad things happen. That's how Steve came back to life. She made a wish, and about she wished that she wanted to see him again, and she was near the stone when it happened. And then he took over somebody else's body, like his spirit went into somebody else's body. And whenever she looks at him, she sees his face, and he's him. But whoever the guy is looks in the mirror and he sees a totally different dude, totally different person. So it begged fans to ask the question: did Wonder Woman basically rape this dude? Did she sexually assault this guy? He didn't have any consent. Like he
So
couldn't
I'm
consent for himself.
I'm gonna say this though. If Wonder Woman came to you right now and said drop your drawers no matter what she looked like, I guarantee you dropping them shits.
It would be death
So
by Snoop Snoop. It would be over for me. Like I would yes. Like of course, it's not a dude out there who would be like, no, I don't want to sleep with Wonder Woman. I'm holding out for something better. Like nobody gonna say that. Like
and I'm just saying, like, if she was
boy,
like, yo, now you gonna do it. So I'm just saying.
but as far as it goes, Me Too need to get Wonder Woman for that because that man did not consent. And that's what I mean about crappy storyline. She had to have stopped and thought about it. There's no reason why this man could have just been resurrected, and they could have just kept it moving. But they decided, let's just go this route. Okay, this is
But
what you
DC
want
is
to do.
known for resurrecting characters. There's so many other ways you could have done it. Lazarus Pit, for example?
The Lazarus Pit would have been dope. It could have been a
Uh,
lot. They could have introduced so much. Listen, that's why I don't want like this is why we do this ultimately, folks. We want to end up being the people that bring you these better storylines. Um, I'm not trying to put my hat in the ring yet, Mr. Feige, but if you're looking for new talent to develop the heroes that you're bringing into your universe, let me know because I can do wonders, and I can definitely do better than Patty Jenkins.
I
Straight
might
up.
I might get involved in that conversation, but I see where you're coming from. I'll say that.
My goodness.
It's a little bit disappointing though. When I saw the first Wonder Woman, I wasn't disappointed. Like I went with wifey, she really enjoyed it. It's like it's a woman who, she deserves her space. She's one of the first, like, and not only because she's a woman, right? But she's one of the first members of the Justice League. If we're still gonna go that route, she deserves her own movie just off of that, just out of respect.
She was the
So
saving grace for that movie, and she was the saving grace for Batman versus Superman.
yeah.
That's how I felt. But all that talk, I also forgot to mention that the DC universe is going to be called the DC multiverse, the second DC universe, and
Like officially?
officially,
Awesome.
and they got a lot of good stuff happening. As
So
far as like the one-off movies are concerned. In the
so
same breath that I'm disappointed with Wonder Woman, I'm
mhm.
actually pretty excited about what they got going on with Patterson. Patterson, are they going to be calling him? Whatever his name is, but the kid from Twilight who's playing Batman.
Oh, what is it? Yeah, I suck with names, so forgive me. I'm really not big on names. Um,
It is Robert Patterson.
Robert Patterson. Yeah.
Adam. Thank you, Google.
Thank you, Google. But I wanted to ask, so if it's gonna be a multiverse, are they connecting everything?
No,
No. Okay.
CW is its own universe, and I believe that the Titans verse is either its own separate universe or it's connected to CW, but it's loosely connected.
I think
The
it's its
DC,
own. I think it's
it,
it's with the DC app. I think that's called DC Universe. I think it's a part of that. They have their own set of movies. Titans, not Mood, the Doom Patrol, not Doom Patrol. The
isn't it the
man,
Doom Patrol?
I think it was the Doom Patrol. Hold on.
Yeah, it was the Doom Patrol. It was with the
It is Doom
robot.
Patrol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Doom Patrol. So there's that. There's Titans, and then I believe there was one more that's even with that. So that's its own universe. But
Mhm.
but the reason because since you say multiverse, and in the CW version of it, they just connected everything with their last big battle. It would make sense for this DC multiverse to loosely include all of this, to make mention of all of these other universes if you're calling it a multiverse.
I
It,
think that they're aware that they exist. I think some universes are aware that the other universes exist, but for like again, like movies like The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, he doesn't care or know what's happening in the
that's
universes going
true.
on with Shazam.
That's true. No, I know, I hear you, and I'm not
Yeah.
against it. It's
Mhm.
just more of like a fan thing than it is for the actual characters.
No, no, and I agree, and but that's kind of what they've been saying about how they're going to have Affleck if he decides to return to play Batman. That's how they said Michael Keaton currently is the main Batman in the universe,
Hmm. Right.
which was pretty dope to hear. And Patterson can still exist as well in this particular universe, but I believe that I even think that the Batman isn't related. The Batman, which is the movie that's coming out,
Hmm.
isn't doesn't have any relation to the Joker movie that just came out.
Right. Yeah, they're supposed to be like two completely separate universes, and that's something else about DC that I wouldn't say it's aggravating, but it's too much. We have a laundry list of characters. We can stop with all these extra Batman movies, and like it's too much. Like I understand you're trying to milk it for all he's worth, but we have just so many other great characters that we can use. What give Green Arrow a movie? I understand he has a show on CW. I get it, but give him a movie. What about Speedy?
They did Green Arrow so filthy, yo. They turned him into Batman. Because they couldn't get Batman. That's exactly what I'm feeling like. Like
Oh,
Oliver Queen was like
yeah.
was basically, for lack of a better term, a millennial that was against the rich, even though he was one of them. He was a
Batman.
Robin Hood type of character,
Mm-hmm.
and he was making sure that the little guy got justice. He was always about lower, like smaller businesses and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, the Oliver Queen in the Arrowverse isn't that bad of a guy. I think the Arrow, like I think that he, Stephen L. did a commendable job all these years as Oliver Queen.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like what we know of him and we know of his, like, abilities, he was supposed to be a lot more different from Batman, and the ideal that Batman and even Superman was kind of working towards. Like, this is Oliver Queen. He's how super like public relations, or how superheroes need to interact with the public and what their ideals should be. And literally, the statement comes to mind: "We're only as strong as the last one left straggling, or the weakest of us."
Mm-hmm.
Oliver Queen was the weakest of us, but he represented the heart and the consciousness, or the conscious of the Justice League. And that kind of got dwarfed a lot in the CW Arrowverse. I feel like they told stories that made him like a lot more like Bruce Wayne, and the idea that he's this vigilante who has a lot of money and resources at his assets, and, like, what I'm saying, even though he wants to stop, he can't, because the world that he created needs vigilantes with masks. So just to make sure justice gets served.
Well, I mean, he definitely stopped. Spoiler alert. I mean, he definitely stopped. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's actually a lot of really good points. I never thought of it that way. Like
Mhm.
he definitely can be considered Batman. And actually, I have thought about that. That's a lie. I have thought
Mhm.
about that. Where he's. I mean, even if you look at them in the comic books, they're the same person, except one's a bat and one's an arrow. Like literally, like it's the
One
same
black, one
thing.
green.
Exactly. Like that was it. I am hoping that the CW verse does come back with some heat. Cause it for me, those shows have kept me going for so long. I know I was at work on certain days. I'm not saying where I work, but bosses, if you're listening, I'm just kidding. But I know I was at work, like on break or something, watching Arrow that just came out. Like it got me through so much. Like it was that for me, it was that in anime. Like literally, like that was it. And I love the direction that they all went. And I was actually disappointed we never saw, or we did see Batman, but I was disappointed we haven't seen him sooner. Like there was so much mention of it, and I was just like, where is Batman? Where is Batman? I just want to see him one time, just prove that he's in the universe. Never did. Never got my Batman. But yeah, I agree. It's like since they have this other vigilante who's going around doing what Batman does, exactly what Batman does, not killing, only going out really at nighttime, basically Batman in green. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not surprised. Like I see it.
So actually, they did have a Batman show up, and it was a very brief thing. There's one. It was, but they did have a dude show up and play Batman, and that was pretty cool. And then they did have a Crisis on 52 Earth kind of situation,
Right, where the
where
voice actor,
Kevin,
um,
yeah, the voice actor Kevin Conroy,
yeah,
like, jumped in as old Bruce Wayne, which was pretty freaking cool.
yeah, it was awesome.
And by the way, yo, Kevin Conroy's voice as Batman it was a
There's
great time in cartoons.
there's no better voice for Batman. I will never. There's in my lifetime there will never be a better voice for Batman. It doesn't
Especially
exist.
how we did the Bruce Wayne Batman voice switch. He developed that. He would if he never did that, Christian Bale wouldn't have sucked so bad. If he never did that, we wouldn't have heard Ben Affleck. Listen, Christian Bale was probably the best Batman we'll ever see, but man, I'm not wearing hockey pads. It's the most terrible. Yo, he tried so hard to speak from his chest. It was ridiculous. And but don't get me wrong. Again, did a great job, and I love those movies. I love that trilogy. Nolan is knocked it out the park, even with the loss of Heath Ledger. The third movie was not terrible, but man, I used to laugh when Bale did that voice. It was so hard to take it
I
seriously,
have
man.
no comment
Like
for that. The only thing I say is for me, that was my favorite set of Batman movies, plot line
yes,
and story. But outside of that, you know, yeah. uh, but and all and actually circling kind of back to the point I was making about the multiverse,
hmm
because we already saw the multiverse in the TV show, right? So since we saw the multiverse in the TV show, for them to call this now the multiverse, I feel like it goes. I feel like that's given homage to the TV shows, for once. And now you don't have to connect anything. If you have, you're gonna have the Flashpoint movie, for example, right? And
so so
we already saw two Flashes talk to each other from two completely now from a completely different universe than Earth. Was it Earth 52 and Earth 1? I think it was, or Earth 49.
like
Um,
don't get me
I,
don't let me quote numbers from what Earth there was, but there's
oh
mad Earths.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's Barry Allen and the other one. God, why can't I remember names today?
Ezra
Who's the
Miller,
original?
Ezra Miller.
No, not Ezra, the original Flash. What's the original Flash's name? You
God.
see?
Oh,
Stop.
not Wally. It was Wally.
Not
Wally West. It's
Barry Allen.
Barry
It's
Allen. Oh my God. Oh God, what was the original Flash? The original
I
Flash
don't want
is.
to Google it. I don't want to Google it.
I'm gonna do it.
Hold on, let me see if I can remember. I Googled it. Jay Garrett.
J. Peter Garrett. Yep. He's
So,
yep.
in the TV show, you saw multiple Flashes conversing, but then they brought in the movie Flash. And in my mind, I'm like, this is dope. Not only because they brought in so many different characters from different movies and all of that, but it's dope because now you kind of have some explaining to do, right? And if you're a good director, you're going to explain how another person's whatever connects to yours. Another person's story, how another person's movie, how another person's plot. Now they destroyed the multiverse. Now what are
Mhm.
the movies gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way to unconnect them. There's no way. If the writer decides to just completely act like that never happened, then I lost faith in all DC universe. Not DC universe, DC multiverse. I would have
It
officially lost faith, and I would just go back to animated movies.
it is my sincere hope, and at the same time, it's also a prediction that they are gearing up for a live action version of what was it? The big event that basically led to each year having a new 52. But uh, it was the major DC situation. Uh,
Yo, what is going
what
on with
was
our
it?
brains today? I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's not. You're not talking about Flashpoint. Um,
It was before Flashpoint.
I don't
Uh,
recall. I know what you're talking about, but that would be interesting though.
Crisis on
On
Infinite
Infinite Earth.
Earths.
Yeah.
I believe that was
Well,
that's what we're gonna see.
that they. I mean, you think they're gonna continue that? Because that was what the CW shows were about.
The CW shows did their version of it, and I think that's going to be cool. But to see a animated, I mean, not
A
animated,
live act,
a live
action
action
movie.
feature
Yeah.
that kind of plays out with like the Snyder verse characters.
But how would they connect that? I feel like
Well,
that would be hard because there was only one place left to go that was safe. So maybe the Flash went into not even the Speed Force was safe. Nothing survived.
Nothing safe, nothing. Mm-mm.
So how would they do that?
It would literally have to be like, because each universe, like, it's kind of like what happens with Doctor Strange, what he was explaining about things that were happening with the times, like with the Infinity Stones,
Hmm.
and how he was able to see all those different futures and stuff like that. You got to think that multiple people have are aware that the universe, or that there's multiple universes, the multiverse can like act in the same way. Where there's universes where like uh, Thomas Wayne is the one who became Batman because Bruce was the one who died, and then his wife became the Joker. There's
Right.
universes where, Thomas Wayne never died, and that him and his son and his wife, they all became like a big anti-crime family in Gotham City, and developed like technology and stuff for police officers and people to kind of like be able to catch criminals better. And they he did all that, and he didn't hide who he was. And people knew that Bruce Wayne, the Wayne family, the Wayne Foundation was about, like, what I'm saying, keeping the city safe, keeping the streets safe from crime. Um, there's that universe. It really depends on, like, each and every situation. So it's not too crazy to think that an event that already happened unfolds in its own version or its own way in another universe, and in another way. Like, don't ask me necessarily how that's going to look in the universe that has Wonder Woman, the Flash, um, Aquaman, and Cyborg, and all of them from the Snyderverse, because there's so much stuff that got trampled over, so many different things that kind of got redone, or not redone, but like just fused together, and kind of just in weird ways to kind of create a narrative that kind of supports what's happening in the movies, and separate it from what already exists. They're gonna find a way to kind of to incorporate it and make it so, but it's not gonna necessarily be what it is.
I think they're gonna have to skip it unless they plan on retconning what happened in the TV show.
Mm, I, DC
Be-
is not above retconning.
That's true, but it's so soon to retcon. It's too soon. It's too
They're not
soon.
a lo- they're not in love with their universe, and it's becoming more and more evident that they're getting dissatisfied with, like, with what's currently happening with it. Uh, the, the Shazam was a funny ass movie, but what does it have to do with the DC universe, man? What does it have to do with things? As a word, I don't, I just don't want people to just lose that sight of just being mindful that they have weird ways of weaving these tales and
Hmm.
bringing, as it were. But as time goes on, I'm hoping to see just just a better depiction of said characters, so we can kind of keep it moving. But that's neither here nor there.